All right, hey everybody, my name is David Hayes with Peace River Wildlife Center, and today we're going to talk to you guys a little bit of ways that you can help our environment and our animals, and then we're going to treat you guys with some special guests and some of our educational ambassadors. So, today we're going to start out with the ways that you can help. So the first thing that you can do, anytime you get cans or soda cans and jars and that kind of thing, make sure you rinse them out and wash them properly. As you can see here, sometimes when you leave stuff in the jars, the animals will try to get in there and they might get their heads stuck. And the last thing that we want is any animal getting stuck in a jar, because then they're going to have to come see us at Peace River Wildlife Center and we're going to have to try to help them out. So another thing that we deal with a lot down here, especially with fishing, is our fishing line. Anytime that you go fishing, be sure that you always cut your lines and take them with you. If ever you have to cut your line, make sure you take it with you and dispose of it in the proper place. Whenever you do have lines and hooks, they'll get tangled on birds and in their feet. And I don't know about you, but I don't want hooks and lines tangled up in my skin. So,
go ahead.
When we have birds get tangled up in fishing lines, a lot of the times they're going after the bait like we have here. And you'll see, to the bird, that's not much different than a normal fish. So they see that and they bite it thinking it's another fish, and then they've got hooks in their mouth. And that's what we don't want to have. Plastic is another big problem that we deal with. So anytime you get these rings around soda cans, be sure that you cut every single hole possible. That way animals can't get stuck in them. So what you'll see right here is how you should properly cut these rings. That way nothing can possibly get trapped inside of it. And we had an instance at Peace River Wildlife Center where a turtle came in and it had these rings tied around it. And its shell grew and molded into the ring. So as you can see on our little turtle here, that's what we don't want. So just again, make sure you always cut these rings. That way nothing can possibly get stuck in it. Anytime you get grocery bags or any type of plastic bag, be sure to dispose of it properly and not let it get back into the environment. These animals will get caught up in bags and then they can suffocate and they won't be able to fly. So Tom here will show you guys exactly what happens to these animals. So another thing, whenever you get soda bottles or Gatorade bottles, they come with the little plastic ring under the cap. Make sure anytime you get these that you cut them. That way animals can't get their heads stuck or their feet stuck inside of the rings. Another thing with the grocery bags, when they're floating in water, a lot of the times they look very similar to a jellyfish. And then turtles and other fish are going to come to eat that jellyfish and they're going to end up swallowing plastic. Another thing to watch out for, anytime you have trash and you're eating snacks, anytime you have chip bags, make sure that you cut the bag up and make sure that nothing can get its head stuck in. The same as the cans, a lot of the times you can still smell the food inside of the cans, and then animals are going to put their heads in, and if it's a chip bag, they could suffocate in the bag. With balloons, everybody likes having balloons at the party, but a lot of the times we let those balloons go and they go up into trees and phone lines, and then birds are going to come through and get tangled up in the line. So we've had several cases at Peace River Wildlife Center of birds getting tangled up in these lines. So make sure anytime you have a party and you have balloons, you dispose of them properly. That way they can never get back into the wild. Some things to watch out for with a lot of the birds and a lot of other mammals here is they can be dangerous. As cute as they might look, they're still dangerous. And a lot of them, and some of the animals we'll show you today, have very sharp talons and very sharp teeth. So anytime you're interacting with these animals, make sure you're using the proper equipment such as gloves, because last thing you want is to get bitten by one of these animals. If you do find an animal in distress, make sure do some research on it and then try to get it to us at Peace River Wildlife Center or another local wildlife rehabilitation center. Now we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about our educational ambassadors, and we're going to start up with Luna, the eastern screech owl.
Hi, I'm Sue, and this is Luna. Luna is an eastern screech owl, and eastern screech owls are found all the way from south of us to southern Canada and more than halfway across the United States. Now, sometimes people get these confused with the burrowing owls. There are a couple of differences. For example, Luna lives in trees, lives in cavities. The burrowing owl lives underground. Another difference is Luna has these little feathers that they call horns. He only uses them when he feels threatened or he's a little disturbed. The burrowing owl has a perfectly rounded head and he doesn't have these feathers. And Luna has very attractive short legs. The burrowing owl has very long legs because they do actually have to dig. But he is an eastern screech owl. He came to us 7 years ago, last April. He was on the ground south of Punta Gorda in the environmental center. We don't know how or why he was sitting on the ground, but we never found a nest, so we raised him with the other orphans. Now, when you put Luna with the other orphans and they started growing feathers, Luna's feathers were white. The others were brown and black and beige, and they had so that they can camouflage or hide in the trees. Luna can't hide anywhere. It was at that time that we realized we could not turn him loose because otherwise he could not survive. People think he's an albino. Yeah, right, here is Odie, and you can see what Luna should look like. People think he's an albino, as I just said, but he's not. He's called leucistic. All that means is his pigment did not disperse through his feathers. He is usually, these types are beige and white. They're called piebald. He's not. He's white on white. In fact, his little black eyes that look black are not even black. His eyes are clear. You're looking through them. You're actually seeing the back of his eye. Luna has a 21-inch wingspan. It's hard to believe in such a little guy, but I think earlier they were taking pictures and he spread one wing down so he could show off. But he is sort of the face of Peace River Wildlife Center.
Hi, I'm Charlotte, and I am Orion's handler. Orion is a barred owl. He's called a barred owl, B-A-R-R-E-D, because of the horizontal feathers on his chest and the vertical feathers on the rest of his body. When he was a baby, he fell out of his nest, and he was fine, and his owl parents were still there. But there was a lady that lived there, thought he was so cute, she kept bringing him food. And because she did that, he imprinted on her, and he never learned how to hunt. Orion is named for the constellation the Great Hunter. Unfortunately, because of the interference of humans, he lost his hunting skills. He has territory. He is commonly found, or barred owls are commonly found in the eastern half of the United States. Recently, they've been expanding their territory a little bit to the west. And they live in these areas. They don't migrate. They usually stay about 10 miles from their original home. Orion weighs 2.2 pounds. He has hollow bones and 8,200 feathers and a skinny little body under there. So it all adds up to 2.2 pounds. He has a nice rounded head. He doesn't have the feather tufts or the horns. His eyes, he has the dark eyes, and that signifies that he hunts in the middle of the night when it's darkest. His eyeballs take up 70% of his skull. If we had eyes that big, they would be the size of grapefruits. He has 3 eyelids. He has one that comes down when he blinks. He has one that comes up when he sleeps, and it even has feathers on it so he can camouflage into the tree when he's asleep. He has a 3rd eyelid called a nictitating membrane, and it's a bluish membrane that goes diagonally across his eyes, and that helps protect his eyes. He can't move his eyes. His eyes are fixed in his skull. But luckily, he can turn his head 270 degrees each direction. So if he wants to look up or to the side, he can do that. He makes a great educational ambassador for us. Thank you. Show him your wings. There you go.
Hi, I'm Barb, and this is my ambassador. This is Bella. And Bella is a great horned owl. So like Luna, she has the tufts on top of her head, okay? A little bit bigger. Bella came to us at about 6 months of age. She was found as an orphan owl, and she was taken in by another wildlife center to be raised and released because physically Bella is fine. But unfortunately, she got too used to people, and she was never taught to hunt. So whenever they released her, she didn't know what to do. All she knew was that people give you food. So she started flying at people looking for something to eat. That was not very good for the people. They recaptured her and they brought her to us, and we've had her ever since. She is now 6 years old, and she's been coming out to the public since she was about a year old. Bella has some pretty sharp talons. If you can see the points on the end of them, they actually need clipped right now. They are very, very sharp. This is how they do catch their prey, and this is also how they kill their prey. Whenever they go at a prey, you will see them coming talon first at you, so you don't want to be on the opposite end of those. Bella weighs about 4 pounds. She's a female. Males weigh about 2.5 pounds. Owls can lift and carry off 3 times their body weight. So Bella could pick up about a 12-pound animal. So in the wild, they were picking up things like rabbits and squirrels, mice, other rodents. If you think about any pets you might have at home, though, that weigh less than 12 pounds, they can also pick up your pets. So you want to be very careful if you have an owl anywhere in your neighborhood. Owls fly silently, and they have special feathers that allow them to do that. Their feathers have a fringing on the edge of them, and that muffles sound whenever they fly. An owl can fly, or a great horned owl can fly, about 40 miles an hour.
So what he wants me to tell you guys is his name is Cruiser. This is an American kestrel, and this is your smallest species of falcon in North America. He only weighs in at about 4.1 ounces, but similar to Luna that you saw earlier, he has about a 22 to 24 inch wingspan. The American kestrel is very colorful. It's one of the most colorful raptors that we have here in North America. As you can see, he's got a nice slate blue color on his head and down his wings, as well as kind of a rusty cinnamon pattern on his back. And it's hard to see from this angle, but you'll see his speckled chest, as well as the inside of his wings are going to be a white and black striped color. So the big difference for American kestrels is in the males and females. The females, which we don't have here today, are going to be all covered in that same similar pattern to what he has on his back. And the chest is not going to be speckled. It's going to be more of a striped pattern that you saw in the barred owl Orion earlier. So when you're the smallest in the environment, you got to have a very loud and menacing call. So what you hear there is Cruiser's call, and right now he's okay. He's just checking things out. You might notice him bobbing his head up and down, and what this is his way of finding a visual and trying to determine a distance between you and him. That way he can decide if he can get there in time if he wants to hunt. When they do hunt, they're going to fly against the wind in open fields usually. They like open fields surrounded by wooded areas. That way they can perch, find their food in the field, and then go down and get it. But what they do is they fly against the wind. That way they can kind of hover in place while they survey the field trying to find something to eat. Once they do spot that prey, they're going to dive bombs. It's extremely fast. The peregrine falcon, which is a much larger species of falcon, was clocked in at 242 miles an hour on a dive bomb. This guy doesn't dive quite as fast just because he's a little bit smaller. But when they do dive, the big difference between the falcons and the hawks is that they dive with their beak first, and they kill with their beak instead of their feet. When he first grabs his prey, if he doesn't kill it on impact, he's going to grab it with his beak and break the spinal column. And then he's going to use that razor-sharp beak and razor-sharp feet to tear it apart and eat. When they're in the wild, they're going to hunt small insects, large insects, and very small mammals usually, sometimes mice and voles. But this guy is coined the sparrowhawk, a nickname for him because he's also known to go out and fight birds in a similar size to him, which is a sparrow.
So we have here today, this is Pacino. He is a Virginia opossum. This is North America's only marsupial. The distinctive factor about him is that the females will actually carry their babies in a pouch for about 2 months. Now, a marsupial has some rather unique features to it. One of the things is that in the case of the opossum, he has about 50 teeth. So he loves to chew up on things, but he uses those 50 teeth to catch his prey, to chew whatever he's eating, and he does eat pretty much everything that he comes across. He will eat fruits, vegetables, he will eat small rodents, he will eat insects. One of his favorite foods happens to be ticks, and he has been known to eat as many as 5,000 ticks a week. He just gave you a nice demonstration. One of the things I hope you saw was he has 2 very large canine teeth that he uses actually for catching and killing the rodents and so forth. He also has a prehensile tail, if we can get it out, and you'll see that what he does is he will wrap it around something. He is arboreal. He will climb trees. And when he's up in the tree, if he feels insecure, he will take that tail and use it just like an extra hand to hold on to the branch or something like that. So as he's going around, one of the things that's rather cool about him is that he has the 4 hands, or his 4 paws, appear to be much like human hands, but the hind foot has an opposable thumb. It doesn't have a nail on it. And it is used for grasping the tree limbs and so forth as he's climbing up in the tree. Now, the other thing that's rather unique, I said that the females do carry the babies in a pouch. The babies are actually about 9 days old when they're first born. The female is impregnated, and her gestation period is approximately 9 to 12 days. The babies must make the trip up into the pouch, and then they will attach onto a teat for about 2.5 months. The baby is not viable until it is in the pouch for probably about 2 months of age before it can actually be physically removed from the mother. But in case you guys ever come across a baby or a female that has been hit by a car or something like that, or attacked by an animal, stop and check and see if it has a pouch. You can open up, look inside, and if there are babies in there, take the mother, put it in some sort of a container, and you can we're going to get something to snack on. But you can take the mother and take it into some vet or wildlife center, bring it to us. The babies can stay with the mother for about two days, roughly. You'll notice he's also eating one of his favorite foods, or cat kibble, but they also eat a lot of fruits and so forth. The babies will stay with the mother approximately 5 months before, and then once they leave the mother about that time, then they're viable. A lot of times you will see them emerge from the pouch, and they will hang on the mother's back, especially in the evening time when they're out scrounging for food and so forth.
All right, so we just want to thank you guys so much for watching today. We hope you learned something, and we hope that when we do reopen to the public, you guys will come visit us at Peace River Wildlife Center.